What's up, Retro Maniacs? Joe Day coming at you from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. And 8 questions is back. And we've got a fun one this week. We've got Mike Sommer, better known as Wax Pack Hero. He's a blogger, he's a podcaster, but most importantly, he's a collector. We're going to hear how he answers 8 questions right after the music. Okay, Retro Maniacs, I am joined by Mike Sommer. You might know him as Wax Pack Hero, and he has been gracious enough to join us on 8 questions. Mike, how you doing this morning?
I am doing great. I'm looking forward to hearing what these 8 questions are and seeing what we can come up with.
So I like to tell people and new viewers, Mike EP and I, we went up to the Retromania Labs and we formulated these 8 questions, really dive deep into a collector's soul, into their psyche. We get to know a little bit more about them. So that's what we're looking for. Are you nervous at all? Are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm ready.
After this.
I'm ready. I'm an open book, so I'm ready to go. Let's see what we can uncover.
All right, let's start off. Question number 1. What is the first card you remember collecting?
The first card that I remember collecting, the card that got it all started for me, is a 1986 Topps Thad Bosley. I had recently become a Cubs fan. I was like 8 or 9 years old. I guess I was 9 in 1986. And sitting on the on the top of the counter at a local department store in our town was a box of cello packs of 1986 Topps.
Yeah.
And Thad Bosley was a Cubs outfielder, and his card was right there on top, showing through. And I was like, I'm a Cubs fan. This is a Cubs player. Mom, can I get this pack? Will you buy me these baseball cards? And so that pack with the Thad Bosley on top was the first card, or the notable card from that first pack that I wanted to get. The reason that I bought it
sealed. Did you keep it sealed?
No, I opened it up. I didn't know any better at that time. I just wanted to look at all these things. And so, Yep, 1986 Topps Thad Bosley.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Kind of the other end of the spectrum here. Question number 2. What is the most valuable card you have ever personally owned?
For me, I think it is a couple years ago, I was finally able to snag a Michael Jordan Fleer rookie card. And so it's just it's for me, it looks great. It's a PSA 1.5. So it's not a high grade card, but it was still, a couple $1,000s at the time, I think. And so for me, that's the most expensive single card that I have ever purchased, and I still own it, and it will stay in my collection. It's actually right there.
I see it in the back.
Yep. So sitting on top of the basketball there. So so that is the most expensive.
If you would have said a PSA 10, I would have shut the interview down. That's not our channel, man. We're not collecting PSA 10 Jordans here.
No, 1.5. It has a small crease on the back, like a little wrinkle, but eye appeal wise, it looks pretty sharp for a 1.5, but it made it more affordable, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, this is the portion where I usually crack open a beer, but I'm going to pull back the curtain and say it is 9 o'clock. It's even too early for me. Question number 3. What is your drink of choice? Alcoholic or not alcoholic? Up to you. What is your drink of choice, Mike?
Yeah, my preferred, if I just, was able to make a wish list, I like to go and I like to buy the Sam Adams variety packs.
Okay, good choice.
So I like beer probably the most, and I like a little bit of variety. I don't have just, one go-to beer, but that whole kind of Sam Adams line where you get a case that has, four different styles in it. A Sam Adams variety pack is probably my go-to.
For about 5 years or so, I used to get our Mike a case of Sam Adams for Christmas every year. And now, it's too heavy for him. I'm going to have to find a light beer that that we can get him for Christmas. All right. Question number 4. If you could rip any box of cards, what would it be?
Any box ever, or any
ever? No restraints, nothing. Just something you wanted to rip open. Could be something from the 50s. Could be something right now. Whatever you're thinking.
I think for me, it would be an 86 Fleer basketball box. You know, it seems like that was the year I started collecting, but our little town did not have basketball. We had football and we had baseball, but but those Fleer were never on the shelf in our town.
Right.
And so I kind of feel like I missed out on that opportunity to rip those open as a kid because I was ripping a bunch of baseball and football at the
Yeah.
time. And so even though there's this segment of the hobby that's like, oh, they're overproduced, there's nothing special about those. You get, three or four of every card in there. Like to me, it would still be a ton of fun to be able to go back, pretend I was a 9-year-old again
Hmm.
and open up a bunch of 86, 87 Fleer basketball. With the prices of those now, there's no way that is likely to ever happen, but I think I would really enjoy that a lot.
And what I like about your answer is it's not just the value of it's the nostalgia
Yeah.
of opening up that box of cards,
Yep.
which is cool. All right, question number 5. Tell us something about yourself that most people may not know.
Something about me that most people may not know. I'll give you two
Okay.
that I think would be kind of fun. So I went to a small high school in central Illinois growing up. I had 17 people in my graduating class, but our little school still had its own basketball team. I played basketball all through high school. And my junior year in high school in the state of Illinois, we've got a 3-point contest that goes along with our state tournament. And I was able to advance all the way into the Final Four of 3-point shooters in the state of Illinois and finished second in the kind of the small
Oh,
school
wow.
division for 3-point shooters in the state of Illinois when I was a junior in high school. And then I think the second thing that is kind of fun that people may not know is when I was in college, um, I used to be a little more politically active than I am now, and went out to the 1996 Republican National Convention and finagled my way with my 35 millimeter camera into getting press credentials somehow. I just walked into the press room and asked for press credentials and sweet talked my way into getting photographer passes. And so got a chance to go all over that convention and met Bob Dole, who was the presidential
Hmm.
candidate that year, met Sonny Bono,
Oh,
who
yeah, he
was
was
who was there.
mayor of Chevy Chase or something,
Yeah,
or
he was
mayor of
yeah,
some
he was
small town
doing
in
something
California.
right. He might have been a Congress got elected to Congress or something at that
Yeah, yeah.
time. Got to meet Larry King, get a picture with Larry King and Billy Baldwin, the actor, was there
Right.
and met him. Um, th- so I just got a chance to meet and interact with all of these different celebrities, news people, whatever, because I just walked in and sweet talked my way into photographer passes. And yeah, so that was an interesting experience that I got to meet a lot of interesting people that week.
Since this is 8 questions with Mike Sommer, I won't tell you my very, very similar story. Once we finish recording, I'll tell you my eerily similar story to yours for that one. So great. Both of them are great, but that one especially near and dear to my heart. All right. Question number 6. What was your first car?
My first car,
Yeah.
my first car that was ever like dedicated to me. The first car
Yeah.
I ever drove was our family minivan. I didn't have my own car, but
Rocking
that's
the
the one I
minivan.
got to use was our family minivan. But the first time I ever got to have a car that was like mine to drive, it was a 1965 Chevy Nova.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was, we ended up my aunt bought it from the little old lady story. My aunt bought it from a little old lady in her town and then sold it to my dad or our family, and then that was the car that I got to drive. But it's kind of that classic 1965 car. It was a four-door, um, two-speed automatic, and like the back seat didn't even have seat belts. And so it was,
Well, it was the 60s, man. No one
yeah,
needed seatbelts in the
right, and
60s.
so that was the car that I got to drive, towards the end of high school and the beginning of college, so
You
before
probably
my
felt pretty
sister
cool in high
inherited
school
it.
with your own car.
Yep,
All right. Excuse me. Question number 7. This is what we like to call buy, sell, burn. I'm going to give you 3 things, and you have to choose one to buy, basically keep, never
yep,
get rid of, one to sell. You like it okay, but you're willing to move on from it. You can move on and sell it to someone else. Or burn. You hate this thing. You never want to see it again. You're gonna burn it in effigy and get rid of it. All right.
Yep.
Our three things are slabs, top loaders, and binder pages.
Mm.
Which would you buy? Which would you sell? And which one would you burn?
I am gonna buy binder pages.
Yes.
One of my primary collecting focuses is like vintage sets. I like
Hmm.
to go and put together vintage sets, and if I'm going to put that together, I don't want it to sit in a box. I want to be able to look at it and enjoy it and experience it and read the backs and all of those things. And it's a whole lot easier to do that when I can flip through a binder of those sets. And so binder pages would be what I want to buy. What I would sell, that's the second one, right?
Hmm.
Um, what I would sell is probably top loaders.
Okay.
I don't mind top loaders. They serve a purpose. They help with, shipping, and they help with certain things. But I'm definitely, not attached to top loaders or using top loaders for
Hmm.
for cards. And so I'd go ahead and sell those. And then if I had of those three things, I would burn slabs.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of grading. I've done a limited amount of grading for myself. Um, I think there's some value that comes with some additional authenticity for vintage cards and things like that. I think the other reason that I've graded some are some of the more significant cards in my collection. If something ever happened to me, I would want my wife to be able to not get
Hmm.
ripped off when selling my
Right.
collection, and it's a whole lot easier for some of those significant cards to get true value if it's already been graded. So that's why there's a little bit of value there, but nothing drove me more crazy from this, most recent craze of, a run up that we had in sports cards was this grading craze that we saw from 2020 through, late 2021, early 2022, where it seemed like everybody was grading everything. It wasn't worth buying if you didn't have it graded. It didn't matter about scarcity or populations. We just had to grade everything. And
Hmm.
nothing drove me more crazy than that whole mindset of a card's not worth collecting unless it's graded. And so while I see some value, the craziness that came from the grading boom over the last couple of years just really rubbed me the wrong way.
And it's still going. We're going to be talking about that a little bit on the podcast today. The grading numbers are outlandish. But I will say, before you burn that Michael Jordan PSA 1.5, you can send it over to me. We don't want to
Okay.
see that one
Okay.
get burned. Okay.
Maybe
All
that
right.
one will maybe that one will avoid the fire.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. All right. Last question. Other than recommending buying any particular card, what is one piece of advice you would give to yourself when you first started collecting?
When I first started collecting as a kid, I would say um, that's tough. Man, I thought I'd have an answer, but that's tough because I think
We
when I
digging
collect
deep, man. We dig into
when
your
I
soul here.
collected as a kid, when I look back on it, I feel like it was pure. I
Mhm.
was going after the cards that I truly cared about and the players that I truly loved. And while there was a value came into play a little bit, that wasn't the primary reason for why I was going after the things that I would go after. And um, so maybe it would be um, pay a little more attention so you don't get ripped off. Um,
That's
maybe
probably
that
a pretty good
Maybe
advice.
that would be the true thing, from when I was a kid. I think more so now as I got back into collecting again in 2016. I think some of those early lessons of doing your research and understanding more about all of these products that we've got now, how the hobby has changed so much from the 80s and 90s to the way it is today. And I think early on, if I could have learned a few more of those lessons around having a self-sustaining hobby, that would have been something that would have been helpful. And it's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about that now, is because of some of those early lessons when I first got back into the hobby in 2016.
A great answer on both sides of that, Mike. So you're now officially known. You've answered 8 questions. You are as known as you can be in the hobby. Where can the folks find you, Mike?
Yeah, so the kind of the home base is the website or the blog, waxpackhero.com. I've got links to all of my socials there, links to the podcast and all of that type of thing on waxpackhero.com. I'm active on most social media sites. So on Twitter, I'm at the Mike Sommer, and on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, I'm Waxpack Hero. And you can find the podcast, Waxpack Hero Sports Card Minute, pretty much anywhere that podcasts are found.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Mike. And thank you for answering 8 questions.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.